Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for all things Warcraft. With your hosts, Berzerker and Navox. This is Unshackled Fury.
The time has come, and here at last we have arrived to send off 2019 in style. Welcome to episode 63 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for all things Warcraft. This is our 2019 year in review. I am your host, Berzerker, and of course I've now got my supersized Yeti at the ready. And with me, as always, is the baby Yoda to my Mandalorian. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
This is the way.
I have spoken.
I have spoken. I love. God, isn't that show is so?
It's so fucking good.
Dude, it got me back into loving Star Wars. Like I was like, I have been drifting. Like I've not. You know, well. Let me just say, I didn't, and we're not going to go off on it. It's not a Star Wars show, but we're not going to go off on it. But my Star Wars was, and when I was growing up, it was Star Wars. It didn't have a name. It didn't have a New Hope tied to it till later on.
Yeah.
So it was Star Wars, and then it was Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi, and you know that was my Star Wars. And then the episodes 1 through 3 came out, and it was like, what the hell happened there?
Yeah.
You know, and if you love it, great. I won't go shitting on it. You know, you like your thing. You do it. If you like it, great. You know, not for me. And then the new movies came out. I'm not too behind, but
really
a lot of. Well, right. I didn't really like the new ones, but I will say this. See, I guess I'm liking the junk movies because I liked Solo. I thought that was.
I really like Solo. Yeah, so Sumi.
I just did. It was a good movie.
I had a great time.
And then getting into the Mandalorian, I was like, this is amazing.
Oh
and
my gosh, yeah.
Even Lisa is like, this is great. You know, she loves it. And when we saw the child, she just flipped out. And I think we all flipped out. It was crazy.
Yep.
And then I get to work and I'm talking to my buddies at work. They're like, have you seen Rogue One? I'm like, no, I haven't seen Rogue One. They said, you got to watch Rogue One. You'll probably you enjoy that a lot. So that's the next thing. But I think
you still haven't watched
it? No, I still haven't watched it yet.
Oh
I'll
my
watch it.
God.
Yeah. So
do you know about
what I think?
Do you know about the one scene?
I don't know anything about the movie at all.
Oh, bro.
Like I have no idea about what I haven't. I know that Rogue One takes place before Episode 4. I know it's
like
the
literally.
So to go steal the plans of the Death Star.
Yeah.
So I have that in my head.
Yeah.
But other than that, I know nothing about the movie.
So anybody who's listening to this podcast right now, and I know we're getting off on tangent, but it is actually very timely, so just bear with me. There is a scene, and anybody who's watched this movie already probably knows what I'm talking about, but there is a scene towards the end, like literally in the last couple of minutes, and it is one of the greatest things I have ever seen, and I was like jumping and screaming and like clapping, and like this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
All right.
And it's something I had waited like a long time to see. And it was badassery on a whole other level, and you will know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it. You're gonna be like, "Oh, this is what Berzerker was talking about." And you're like, "Yeah, shit is on." So,
all right, cool.
Well, good luck for you. And like I said, this is timely because this coming week, the entire Skywalker saga does conclude with Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. Which listen, this is a Warcraft podcast. I know we're off tangent, but this is like so core to our nerd culture.
Absolutely.
Like this is
Absolutely,
one of the
yes.
foundational touchstones that
It is.
you can't
Yep.
acknowledge its presence in any other way, but then to say it out loud, this is part of, this is part of our whole get, So,
Yeah.
But we've got tickets. A week from right now as we record, I will have seen it.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So
Awesome.
I'm trying to avoid all these last minute spoilers because they seem to be putting out a new trailer every 30 seconds with more footage, and I'm like, stop it.
Yeah.
So, but back to this realm, back to Azeroth and all things
Back to
related to
Azeroth.
Warcraft. We are here to celebrate 2019 and the year that was. This is a year for our beloved franchise and their developer that saw some waves this year, saw some ups, saw some downs. It was tumultuous, is a word I think that we could use to describe it. But, for us here on this show, this has been without a doubt the biggest year that you and I have ever had doing this podcast. We have more than doubled our listenership. We have reached new people that we have never reached before. We have made inroads with Blizzard, which I never thought would be possible, and we've been able to do some giveaways and some other things. And I got to say, a lot of it is built on something that you and I have strived to do, which is to be consistent in putting these shows out and saying, hey, we got to keep doing it, got to keep banging away. But honestly, go ahead.
No, and our listeners, a lot of people have found our show through word of mouth, and we tweet something, and all of you retweet it. It helps the show out. It helps get new people. I got followers from people. It's kind of nice because we're getting followers of the show that aren't, centered around the guild, around the guild, Convert Raid that we're in. It's, we're starting to get more and more external listeners, and it's really, really, it's a neat feeling. It's very cool. And so thank you to all of our listeners,
Yeah. And that's kind of the next and most significant point is that you and I can do whatever it is that we do here, but we have to have somebody listening on the other end to some degree to make it meaningful, I suppose. And other than the couple of friends that we have and my mother who chime in and make comments, we really have grown a more sizable listener base, and we really appreciate all of you who listen to this show and give us feedback and tell other folks, like Nav said, because that's what we're here for. We're here to be sort of ambassadors to the community to some degree, and to, use our voices for what we hope is a power of mostly good, somewhat stupid, but, we're out here.
Chaotic good?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Chaotic good? I don't know. I'll have to look at that chart again.
Yeah.
Definitely not neutral of anything.
No.
So we really do appreciate all of you who tune into the show and keep downloading it and telling folks about us, because we do get something. Hey, hadn't heard of you guys. Hey, welcome aboard. Tell a friend, come along. So hopefully this is just, again, us continuing to build and grow, and I hope that 2020, and we'll talk about this later, continues to be another year of growth for us. But right now, we do have a couple of things going on in game. Number one, I have reached exalted status with every faction except for Mechagon, which I'm just putting that out there because that hasn't happened since Wrath of the Lich King, that I have had that many exalted reps. So I'm tooting my own horn here because I can, because it's our show. But I'm going to do that. But that was one of my biggest goals of the year, was to try to really be more engaged with some of the other content of the story and the game that's going on, other than just raiding. So that's something that I'm proud about. I also wanted to just mention, before we get into our rage topic this week, that there is a charity pet out for sale right now.
Yeah.
Dottie.
Yeah.
Is this an alpaca? Is that what
It's
this
an
is?
alpaca. Yeah, exactly.
So this is part of the Vol'dun storyline that I never played. So as a Horde, I don't know. You played through the Horde storyline. Maybe you know more.
I did.
about this.
Yes, I have played through the Horde. For the most part, yes.
What's the allure here? Why would somebody want to? I mean, great. Granted, charity events are always good, but what's the appeal here of the Dottie?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's just cute. I think that's all it is just.
It doesn't turn into like a bloodthirsty rabbit, like from Monty Python or something.
No. I haven't. And the most I saw of it was on Twitter, where people are just getting a plushie of it. They have the little plushie thing. And, yeah. Oh. So it's that's pretty much it. I don't know, and I honestly don't know if it's something in game that you get on the Horde side. That's why I was a little confused with that. I was like, oh, what? Like, huh?
Well, for $10, you can get this pet. And it looks super cute, and it's shared across all your characters, according to this Blizzard printout. It's always good to help charity. What are
Absolutely.
What are we going for? This is for Make-A-Wish and We.org. And, Make-A-Wish. Boy, they're everywhere. I think everybody knows who they are. I don't know that there's really anything more that needs to be
right. And Warcraft and Blizzard have always been really big with Make-A-Wish. It's a very, very good organization to be,
Yeah, and We.org has a much broader charity reach. This has to do with helping a variety of international services. So it's much, much bigger. Also a very worthy cause. So if you got $10 and you feel like putting a little cuteness in your game, if that's your jam, throw it down and help out some folks. So as of late, I know in game it's been a little slow for us. We're kind of doing some achievement runs and trying to mop up what we can before the end of the year with a whole bunch of stuff ready to explode probably in the next handful of weeks. So that's what's been keeping us busy. But what have you been doing in game, good sir?
All right, so for the 15th anniversary, I've been leveling up all of my tunes in Alterac Valley. I've got all of my alts basically to 120, wow. And some of them have their necks, some of them don't. I don't really care because I play my warriors. I love my warrior tunes, and I get them their gear. And now I'm working on trying to get the Magar Orc armor. I'm playing a horde. I'm doing that casually. And then I'm also trying to unlock the Zandalari Troll and the Volpera, because not that I'm going to play the horde. I'm not going to play a horde character in depth in any way, shape, or form.
Better not.
I just hate that the things exist and they're not unlocked. Like, it's just something.
This is your completionist bug.
And it's also, the game's doing its job. The game has. The game it's designed around that. They put something in game that you don't have, and it makes you want to obtain it because you can just do it through rep. And so I'm just casually going around and trying to get all that rep. I can't. God, it's a death knight. I'm playing on a death knight that I made in Legion just so that I could get the Grifta's troll shoes, and then I ended up leveling this Death Knight, and I don't really enjoy playing the Death Knight. It just happens to be my 120 tune that's Horde. So that's kind of like why I'm working on the Magar Warrior. So eventually I'll have some fun whenever there's like a Horde only thing. I could play a Warrior, and yes, I guess I could boost an Orc and then take him to 120 and work on the rep, but the Death Knight's already into Revered, so it's almost Exalted, and when it's done with Exalted, blah 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 blah. I'll have that. I'll have the race unlocked that I'll never play. So it's like
but you'll have it, damn it.
That's the insanity behind it. It's like there's But other than that, I'm on a break. Like, our raid team is on a break, so it's just been really nice. Just enjoying the evening. We're catching up on Disney Plus, all that good stuff. And so that's pretty much it in my neck of the woods there for that.
How many times have you watched Darby O'Gill and the Little People?
Oh my God. That's funny. We haven't even watched that yet, but I've watched Captain America Winter Soldier like 60 times already.
The Apple Dumpling Gang.
Oh my God. Yes. The Apple Dumpling Gang. Yes.
The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
Like Herbie the Love Bug, Herbie Rides Again, God. The Computer War Tennis Shoes, Flight of the Navigator. Yeah, I had Mary Poppins on, ironing up my shirts for the week.
Welcome to our new Disney podcast. Sorry.
The Imagineering film, by the way, if anybody who has Disney Plus, watch the Imagineering series. It like when people go, it's good. It's so good. Like if you want to know the behind the scenes of how Disney was made and things, it's so good.
That's the reason why people turn to them. The best of the best. Just like Blizz, it's what we expect. The best of the best.
That's right. Exactly.
That's why we have such high standards. So you and I have a rage topic to end the year that we're a little bit late getting to. So it was somewhat kicking a dead horse here. But part of this is a larger conversation that we've sort of had on the show before, but there seems to be a little bit more parsing out of this particular global issue that I wanted to just sort of put our stamp on here on this show. So if you're ready to roll, why don't we head into our rage? Let's rage. So not too long ago, we had a bit of a dust up in the content creator and Warcraft community with regards to an individual by the name of Pyromancer, who's somebody that puts YouTube videos out there and talks about the game and theorizes and has all kinds of stuff going on. And he had posted a video wherein he showed and discussed what is purported to be an image of the jailer in Shadowlands.
Yeah.
So as we remember from BlizzCon, we saw the sort of the in-game cinematic style trailer, and it showed the jailer all shadowy, and all you could see was chains, and it looked like he had some kind of a crown, and there was some crazy stuff going on. Well, apparently there are images of the jailer as he appears, as well as some other storyboard style pictures that have made their way out to the internet.
Yep.
These are images that are clearly under the auspices of a non-disclosure agreement, commonly known as an NDA, and something that Blizzard had no intention of letting out right now. That if they could, they would try to collect all of these things back, but nowadays, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you're kind of screwed. So this individual decided it was a good time. Well, you know what? People are already talking about it anyway. Screw it. I'm going to throw it up on my channel, and I'm going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Well, then there was a big, huge dust-up between this person and, I believe, Taliesin.
Oh, yeah.
Where Taliesin called him out on it. And then you had Wowhead jumping in, and Wowhead's saying, well, here's the difference between data mining and spoilers and leaks and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of splitting of hairs going on, at least in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Where it relates to what is a leak, what is a spoiler, what is data mining, and generally what is acceptable with me out there in the world, all those kinds of things. Now, you're the one who actually brought this whole thing to my attention in the first place.
Right, yeah.
So when you saw what was going on, what was your impression? What did you think? What happened? So
the initial reaction I had was, why does this guy have to make a video on this? Like, because the whole story was that somebody went on the tour of Blizzard, took these photos, and then uploaded them all over the place. Apparently, there's somebody who posted them on their own Twitter account, and then they started sending them to Pyromancer and said, hey, if you want to do this video, here's what the jailer looks like, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And then Pyromancer says, I have a duty. I have this. I have to do this. I have to make videos. And I talk to. You get all the dramatic. You got to build the drama of your YouTube video. I talked to so many people on Twitter.
I was soul searching.
And I had to think about it. Night and day. And I just decided I'm going to make a spoiler video and show everything and blah, blah, blah. And there it is. It's like for cheap views and things like that. But that's basically it. So he had an image of the jailer that somebody who was under the NDA took, and then decided to make a video about it and then discuss it and talk about it. Now I will say he did do a good job of editing his videos, saying, listen, if you don't want to go any further, don't go any further. and because I'm gonna spoil it like right now, I'll give you a few seconds to close the video, so on and so forth. But I don't know. Initially I thought, wow, that was kind of a dick move, because the storytellers themselves didn't want that out for a reason, and
right, and for probably quite some time,
right, and all this is going to do is ruin it for future tours of behind the scenes. That or Blizzard is going to yank everybody's phone, and they'll have to secure their phone, but before they go back, they'll probably I honestly feel like they're gonna tighten it up to the point where people are just not going to be allowed back behind creative, like behind wherever Team 2 is and wherever their creative department is.
Yeah.
They're probably just not. They're just probably going to stop people altogether when it's this close to development of a new expansion. I think it just ruins it for people like that.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it, right? Is that now that this kind of action has been taken, there will be repercussions. Now, I would say that Blizzard probably should be securing people's phones or doing some kind of thing if they're going to take them back somewhere where that is secured. However, the point that some people are trying to make was this is Blizzard's fault. This is not Blizzard's fault.
Right.
I don't blame the victim in this instance at all. Right. This is not. They were not inviting this. They did not ask for this. They were trying to do somebody a solid, and they got screwed.
Yep.
So
exactly.
I saw that flying around. That doesn't fly with me at all. The argument that I saw between Taliesin and Pyromancer that was going on, and with several others, was that this also shows a great amount of disrespect to not Blizzard. Like Blizzard, you can use Blizzard as this monolithic, faceless corporate being and say, well, fuck Blizzard, this and that. But you're talking about artists. You're talking about people who have spent countless hours and weeks and days and months putting these things together, and you basically just pissed in their faces, saying, you know what?
Yep.
I don't care what your plan was. I don't care what this is. I'm going to use the reach of my channel to put this out there. And, we talk a lot about in this sort of sphere of influence, what responsibility do you have? And some people believe they don't have any responsibility. And I'd say that, listen, that's a nice fantasy world to live in. But
right.
once you reached a certain amount of notoriety, I mean, you're responsible for what happens to some degree. I don't think that putting this out there was the right idea. Same as I don't think that, and I know that they were trying to defend themselves, but with Wowhead, when the Bolvar Lich King image got leaked, that was tied to something that was on their store, but clearly it was something that they had not intended to make public yet, and it was an error on somebody's part, but yet they put it out there without a warning of a spoiler, but they didn't put it behind anything. It was right there on the front page. Everybody could see it.
Right.
MMO Champion, I don't even know if they're run by a human being anymore. I think that's just some kind of AI thing that runs that place now. So they just put up fucking whatever. But I saw a lot of this, well, we did it this way, and so we're okay. And we did it this way, and we're okay. I still fall on the side of, if it's under an NDA, you shouldn't talk about it. You shouldn't put it out there.
Right.
You as a content creator, I think that to some degree, if this is something that you love, you owe it to the people who make it to give them the benefit of the doubt, to give them the opportunity to bring this stuff to you. To say, this is the time that we're going to talk about who the jailer is, and here's who is going on, and here's part of the story and the whole thing. To give them that respect, because they're the ones who, frankly, in my opinion, have earned it. If there was something heinous going on, let's say, and somebody had to break an NDA to talk about some unholy thing that was happening, all right, that's different, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Insider trading or some other insane thing going on. But that's not what this is.
No.
This is somebody got their art robbed, and you put it out there, and oh, spoiler alert. Oh, fuck that. That
right,
okay,
yeah.
all right, but if people are clicking on that video, they're clicking on it because they want to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And
yeah.
I don't think that that's the way that content creation, at least on our side of the fence, should work. And
No.
I would dare say that if you get cut off from Blizzard at that point, well, I guess you got nobody to blame but yourself.
Yeah, that's on you.
As we have discovered this year, yeah, you can be invited in on things, and you can also be cut off from those things, I assume.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So it not saying that you got to kiss anybody's ass, but at the same time, I would not go out of my way to make too much trouble.
Right. That's right. Yeah, exactly. So
I still think that if there is material that has been dug up through data mining, that needs to be behind the spoiler channels. Again, Wowhead's kind of 50-50 on that, where sometimes they'll go, oh, spoiler alert, but they'll say like who it's about and what's going on. Like, don't do that. Don't even do that. Give me the opportunity to decide what I want to know in terms of the stuff that you guys have used your fancy shit to figure out. Data mining. I mean, yeah. I can't go do that. I got to come to you guys for that. So, I think that there is a rush to try to get stuff out there so people can be like, ooh, clicks. But
that's what it was, mainly, yeah.
There's just, I don't know. I think there's a certain amount of responsibility that everybody needs to take on our side of the fence. Content creation, fan sites, all that stuff, to try to preserve at least the opportunity for people to have as much surprise as possible, and to preserve the integrity of the process to some degree of what's going on in terms of the creation of all of the things that we're doing.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything here?
No, I mean, I'm just, that it's up to Blizzard to tell the story. I don't want random YouTube, content creator telling me the story ahead of the game. I want to log into the game and find out what's going on. I don't want this stuff spoiled for me beforehand. Yeah. There's some things I go out there and look at spoilers. Sure, you've heard in past episodes I go out there and look at spoilers. And yes, I went out there and looked at the Jailer video.
But you made that choice, right?
I made that choice. I went out there and I looked at it. And I was like, okay, well, regardless of what I saw, it was just like, okay, well, eventually you would have seen it eventually, but I wanted, you'd see it with Shadowlands and not, like I said, some random YouTube thing. So
if someone comes to you with something that's under an NDA, don't take it.
Exactly. That's bottom line. If it's under an NDA, don't take the bait. Don't talk about it.
Even if it looks like it.
If somebody else, and the thing was, well, it was going to get talked about eventually. Good. Let somebody else ruin it, and then you can jump on board. Because I haven't looked at the latest. I haven't looked at a lot of their videos recently, but I don't know if Taliesin and Nevatel did a video or something like that, or discussed it after the fact. I don't know. I think he
Probably.
went the different way of saying, I don't want to discuss it. I don't want to talk about it. So I don't know.
Yeah. And again, I was hyped as hell about the Bolvar thing, but even I was kind of like, yeah, that would have been if that had been a surprise, yeah. Like a total surprise. Oh man, my head would have exploded.
Okay, so that particular leak that we're talking about, the Bolvar leak, the Bolvar image leak, that was unfinished. Do you remember when we looked at it? His arm looked all sorts of fucked up. Like it was his arm.
There was something about it that wasn't right.
It was so weird, right?
But that may have had to do with the way that the lighting was in that shot or something. I don't know, but it didn't look right.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I think it just wasn't finished. I think they were trying to get it out there on the website and get things looking right, and that was data mined real quick, and it was like shit.
I don't know.
I'm real surprised at this point that Blizzard just doesn't go, hey, you know what, guys? Let's just use a dev site that's internal, and we can test all this stuff out internally, and then just roll it out to production.
Well, and it's entirely possible that they have or they did or whatever it was, but somebody made a mistake, and that's the thing. People are human. Mistakes get made, and
right.
Even on the end that we're jumping on somebody for what they did. I'm not gonna beat it to death forever. I think that people make mistakes, and we can opine on them, and we're gonna move on. And that's kind of how it goes. But I would say that from us here, there will be times when we talk about spoilery things. I think people who have listened to this show long enough know that I try to stay away from them as much as possible, because I like to be surprised. I like to find out stuff in the moment, in game, to play it out as it's supposed to be. So that is still going to be, I think, my commitment here. I think that's what we're still going to do on this show. To a large extent. If there's something that, we feel that we absolutely have to talk about, we will, and we have, and that will come up. But we'll never talk about anything that's under an NDA. I'll tell you that much.
That's right.
Yeah. So not so much of a full rage segment as we would just say. If you're going to try to spoil something, at least put it behind something, folks. Give people the option to at least try to preserve some sense of, surprise. So we'll leave it there. All right, 2019 was a big year. We wanted to do our year in review. So sit back, relax, and we are going to jump into our year in review news. So 2019 kicked off with a whole lot of rage from us about taking control of our lives, and everyone, let's take control of the world. Let's make it our biggest year ever. And we did.
Yeah.
We did, and I'm pretty happy about that. And one of the things that really helped us get into gear for this year was we brought on our first interview in about 1,000 years. The man who was responsible for our kick-ass theme music, which I'll probably, have that playing while I'm being buried.
Yeah.
Our man Kane Kong.
Right.
I think his real name is something along the lines of Kane German, but Kane Kong sounds way better. And we had an opportunity to bring him on and talk to him about pillage, plunder, and quesadillas.
That's right.
We had a great time with that, and working with him was such a blast, and getting a chance to sit down and talk to him for about an hour, it's still one of the highlights, I think, of the whole year for me. And people still rave about our song, and they're coming like, hey, can I get that like as a solo track? Can I do something about that? And Kane, if you're listening, thank you, buddy. We'll have to have him on again sometime. We got to come up with another project.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that, it's our in-house musician. I don't know, maybe he's getting too big time for us and triple his rates. But I know we certainly had fun talking to him. But in game, we were actually getting ready to kick off a new raid, the Battle of Berzerker.
Oh my God!
And I know it sometimes it's hard to tell when you're thinking back on raid tiers how long ago something actually happened.
Yeah.
But Berzerker actually happened almost a year ago.
Wow, I can't believe that. That's crazy.
And we had been in Auld, so it's been more than a year. About a year ago, a little more than a year, that we were in Auld, which sounds insane.
I know.
And we ended up in Battle of Berzerker. It was a new kind of raid for us in that you had dual experiences, which we'd never done before. We had an end fight with Jaina, which I maintain is still probably one of the most creative bosses we've seen at the end of a raid.
Absolutely. Yes.
So now that we've had the clarity of time, and you'll hear us say this probably a few times on this episode, where did you end up landing on the Battle of Berzerker in terms of what kind of vibe do you have? Was this a good raid, a bad raid? How does it fall in line with raids past, present, potentially future? Where do your feels land on the Battle of Berzerker this far out?
Honestly, I thought the Battle of Berzerker was a great raid. I thought it was. It's up there. I think it's easily one of my top 3 raids that I've done. I think I could easily rank it up there. It was creative. They did such an amazing job of the scenery, the atmosphere of the raid. The fights were hard as hell. Like they were hard. I mean, they were
tricky.
They were so hard. Like we went through on heroic, and then we went through on mythic. And it took us forever to get to the point where we had enough gear to do mythic. And I think we only downed Jaina on heroic maybe 2, 3, maybe 3 tops. I don't think we we didn't go back and keep doing Jaina because it was just that difficult of a fight. And then when we started on Mythic, we made it to the coin boss. What was it called?
Opulence.
Opulence. Thank you. Yes.
Or for those that listen or watch RuPaul's Drag Race, Opulence. Sorry, a few people might get that reference.
But yeah, so we made it to Opulence, and we managed to do the maze to Opulence. I don't think we downed Opulence on Mythic, and if my raid team's listening and we did, then I apologize. But I think that was one of the best raids, and I think Mechatork was he was right. Mechatork was the one that was the gnome, the big armor suit. Yeah, he was that was another hard fight. And
go ahead.
No, I mean that's I'm sitting here like reminiscing, just thinking like that was a very, very hard fight, and now I have I'm getting playback in the back of my head of raid leaders and my why are we doing stupid things? Stop doing stupid things. It's all coming back there. So I was like, but yeah, it was a fun raid. All in all, it was a very, very fun raid.
Yeah, it's funny going through old raids because it's like. It's another form of nostalgia where it's similar to like tastes or smells. Like you go back into a raid and you're in a place and you see a thing and all of a sudden you start remembering like, oh yeah, I remember when we did this and this other thing was happening. And oh yeah, at the same time, this other thing was going on in real life when we were going through this thing. And it's funny how these markers play out. But yeah, like yourself, I think Battle of Dazar'alor was just such a good raid. It's just such a solid, well-made, beautiful. I think I said at the time how much I enjoyed being sort of the outdoor environment that you had.
Especially after being in Uldir.
Yeah.
I mean, God, we were underground in this shit-ass environment for forever, and it was not fun. Like, it wasn't pleasing. It was like
going around in a big circle killing trash.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, it was a decent start raid, but Battle of Dazar'alor, it got you out. You're in all this lush environment, and the fights were varied. You're, fighting, like you said, the coin boss, but you're having to do sort of the dual tunnel run on either side to get around, and you had to keep pace. And then when you had to fight, who was it, Bwansamdi, right? You're having to split live and dead, and you're moving and you're avoiding stuff, and all the usual hallmarks. Like you said, Mechatork, you're having to hit certain buttons and you have to call out each other's colors, and there was a lot of variety.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That's where the real solid balance point comes in for certain raids, is when you have that mix of mechanics and locations where it kind of changes things up and you don't feel like you're doing the same thing all the time. Like, oh, stand out of fire. Okay, move in.
Right.
Okay, move out. Okay, do this. At a certain point, everything becomes monotonous. But at least when, on the first, couple of months worth of pulls, things are varied and it keeps you engaged. And to go back to the end, where that Jaina fight is still, it's a hard fight, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's not like, and we'll get to this later. It's not like Ajara, where it was like just a clusterfuck and a half.
Yeah,
and I don't know that one's going to go down as a very highly regarded fight.
No, especially after it was just like the getter strat, just like 1, 2, 3, go, and
Yeah.
I remember it was funny that you were telling me. I remember very well when you told me that, but I mean we'll probably talk about that again when we.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The cheese strategy.
Yeah.
Good job, Barian. I'll just throw that out there. Yeah, so we had Battle of Dazar'alor all the way back in January, and I think we agreed that was one of the more solid raids that we've ever had. But then things for Blizzard started to take a turn, and this is where I think we started to see a lot of the downside of this year for ourselves, for the game, for the company, and everything else. We first had the announcement in January that Destiny, the game Destiny, the franchise Destiny, was leaving Activision Blizzard.
Yep.
Which, for a lot of people, I played it. It was okay. I didn't really get that into it. I know certain people did. They were always kind of the outlier on our launcher, so I didn't really think too much about it. But there was certainly writing on the wall that trouble was brewing, that something was up, that Activision Blizzard as a company was in some kind of peril. Then in February, we started to first get our reports that layoffs were coming, that you could see that their stock was tanking. It had gone from essentially a high in the 80s to bottoming out in the 30s or 40s. I mean, their stock had plummeted. And we saw all of these rumors, all of this talk, and then it actually happened.
Yep.
You had several hundred people that got laid off. You saw the company took a huge hit. You saw, and they handled it in a way, I think I said at the time, not as well as they should have.
No,
they paid out a bunch of bonuses and did some other crazy things while people were losing their jobs. The way that they had restructured some things was genuinely very shitty. I think from the perspective of a lot of us out here looking at a corporate structure, I get that hard decisions had to be made, or so it was purported to be, and they made them. But it took a long time, and those effects are still being felt. The hit that their PR side took, I don't know that people will ever trust Activision Blizzard. You know what I mean? And they're a corporate giant, so that's kind of how it goes. But I think that was the first time that invincible sheen of Blizzard was really taken to the sander.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And as we talked about at the time, we started to do a deep financial look into what was going on at Blizzard, what the story was from a real financial perspective, not just, us going, oh, shit looks bad. We actually took a look at it. And at the time that we reported on this, their stock had gone down to about $41 a share.
Right.
Throughout the course of this year, through the measures that were made, it does look like they have had the intended effect. Right or wrong, how they went about it, good or bad. Because as we stand today, as we record, their shares are a little over $58 a share.
Woohoo!
So they are trending upwards. It does seem that going on almost a year later, things are looking better. But going beyond the dollars and cents, it really did feel like the invincibility of Blizzard took a real hit. Mm-hmm. And now that we've had a little bit of time since all of this occurred, what are your thoughts on the company, kind of where they stand now, and do they seem to you like they're on the right trajectory?
Well, right there on the launcher, you're seeing Call of Duty out there right now. Modern Warfare 3. Or not Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare. Call of Duty and Modern Warfare is out there now. So, yeah. I don't know if, I think it's heading in the right direction because of what we saw at BlizzCon. We're going to get our new Diablo game, Shadowlands, Hearthstone. I feel like their titles are very, very strong. And there hasn't been any more layoffs what we've heard, and quite honestly, they've been hiring more people back. From what we see on Twitter, people retweeting, "Hey, we're looking for this at Blizzard. We're looking for this at Blizzard. Hey,
That's
you
true.
should go apply here."
That's true.
So I think it's slowly, bouncing back. It's just going to rubber band back the other way at this point. It just, I don't, I've always been a supporter of World of Warcraft Blizzard, so it's hard for me to. Oh no, I guess it's really not that hard for me to be biased about it. Just, I mean, it was shitty about what happened because we followed a lot of the people on Twitter that did lose their jobs and watching what they went through, and it was quite sad, and it was. And a lot of them have moved on. They've found new jobs and new jobs in the area, new jobs out of state. Some have relocated, so on and so forth. So good on them for picking up and moving on. But I do kind of feel like the whole lore of working at Blizzard is kind of tainted, just slightly, just a little bit. Like, because I would at one point I would have been like, man, that's a dream job. You get to work at Blizzard. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Warcraft. And now it's like, you know what? I'm pretty good at my job.
It's funny that you say that, because I had a conversation with somebody not that long ago, and a million years ago, which by that I mean 10 years ago, when I was laid off, because as I've mentioned before, I've been through the same thing myself. I actually applied for a job at Blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a friend of mine help me put together this sort of presentation as part of my application. He and I ran into each other for the first time in a long time, not that long ago. And he said, "Hey, do you remember when we did that thing?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "Have you ever done that since?" I was like, I think I'm all right where I'm at.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, you make a very good point, which is that the reputation of the company had always been one of like, this is the place to be.
Right. Yeah.
And when these reports started coming out, I think it also kicked off a larger domino effect of this is what life is like in the games industry. And you had seen these reports here and there, but you really started to see this year about how difficult that career path can be. They talked about people sleeping in their cars at Blizzard. They talked about, at other studios, what life was like and how people were treated. And, crunch time became, I know it's not the word of the year, but that could have been the term of the year. You saw all these articles on Kotaku and other places about what life was like. And I think that the Blizzard part of that was a huge chunk of this is what it really is. And you can have all these perks about on-site facilities and all these kinds of things, but I think it's always what I've lamented about places closer to my home about, like Google and eBay and these other folks, Apple, right, that have these huge campuses. Well, the reason why they do that is so that you never leave.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Yeah.
And they don't want you to have a life outside of work, because that's what they always want you to be doing, is working and thinking about work.
Yep.
And you saw a lot of that now come to the forefront, at least in our world of things. And it was shocking. I will say, I was quite shocked to see how bad conditions were in certain places, including Blizzard.
Yeah.
And I do hope that now coming out of that, they've had a chance to address some of these things and make things better. But it does seem that is still a battle that people will fight. Nonetheless, that did happen back then, back in February. Had the cuts, had all that stuff going on. We also had just kind of another random community thing happen where Thomas Chung, a.k.a. Elvine, who was a popular WoW community person who was a sort of a gold-making guru type thing, was arrested for some underage solicitation activity, which, that's about as bad as it gets. And I did a little poking around, have not seen a single update, so don't know what's going on with that cat, but whatever it is, I'm sure it ain't good. But I think that was kind of a shock to a lot of people, and there's a lot of discussion in the community at the time about, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe this happened. And then you had 40 other people come out and say, yeah, actually the guy was kind of a dirtbag to me and other people that I know. So again, that one instance that can start to open up that bigger crack of, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's been going on here that nobody's been talking about.
Right.
And now that there's been a catalyst, here we are. So God only knows what we're going to see in 2020. For us personally, February was kind of a cool month because we had appearances on both Frazzlecast and the Dark Moon Herald.
Yeah.
Dark Moon Herald, rest in peace. But we did manage to get on there, and I complained very loudly about how early in the morning it was.
That's right. Yeah.
And and I was scolded for my pronunciation of Sylvanas behind the scenes. So that one's been sorted out. But it's nice to go on other shows and see what's going on.
Absolutely.
I do have a scheduled appearance pending on Frazzlecast.
Awesome.
coming up soon. So keep your
Work
eyes
on that Mechagon rep.
Mhm.
You know how gnomes are.
But for us, we didn't do and we typically don't do a lot of interviews. We don't typically bring a lot of other people on. In the last couple of months, we have brought more people on. One of the things I'd like to ask you listeners is if there are people out there in the community that you would like to have us bring on an interview on the show, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
For us, I think that we on this show have tried somewhat to stay out of the incestuous podcast meet and greet thing that goes on where, you just kind of see the same people just kind of rotating around on all of the shows.
Yeah.
And listen, if that's what people like and that's what they want to do, that's cool. That's just not what we do. Try to make our guests a little more targeted and have a real purpose and a desire to have conversation with certain people. But if there are individuals that you folks out there would love to hear us talk to, let us know. Shoot us a message, send us an email, do whatever you want to do to get us the word, because we're always thinking of what we like to do here. I don't think we have anybody planned at the moment.
No, I don't think we do.
So the schedule's wide open if you want to bring somebody on. But we certainly do appreciate the folks that have had us on, and as we get through the rest of the year, we'll mention the other folks we had on. But let us know. Let us know what you think. We had Frazzlecast and Dark Moon Herald in February, and then we also showed up on the Rolling Restart in March.
Yeah.
With our follow-up appearance just last month, and that was a really great opportunity to talk with Bro, who by the time this episode gets out, we'll know what's going on with Realm Maintenance. That's with episode 300. We as we record, we still don't know what the big surprise is. Yeah, 300. And here we are at 63. I don't. Still, we didn't get the story. We got some inkling of what may happen, but not really. So I assume by the time this episode airs, people will know. So, but it was good to be on his other show, Rolling Restart. But really, Nav, March brought probably the biggest controversy we had all year. Portals.
That's right.
Portals. Remember the Great Portal War of 2019?
Oh, I remember the Great Portal War. Yes.
What do you remember about the Great Portal War of 2019?
That life as we know it on Azeroth would never be the same, and it was this close to ending. I mean, honestly, I think it was that
on
bad.
The brink.
That's right. It was crazy. Dogs and cats living together.
Mass hysteria.
The dead rising from the grave. Yeah. So, it didn't turn out to be that bad, right, folks? I mean, for real. We still made it down to Chromie with the, Caverns of Time. So,
they did manage to make, I think, that slight alteration or two to open up a few other portals. But the portal room has been as beautiful and as great as I had hoped it would be, and I haven't heard anybody say shit about it since.
Dude, I go back and forth between Stormwind and Cold Tears, and it's just that's about it. That's the most that and doing the Caverns of Time. That was pretty much it. I've used the portal that many times, and it's it turned out to be a show about nothing, and so it just goes to show that when Blizzard makes changes like that, and they tend to do know a little bit better, and they do also. Hey, listen. They also listened to the crowd when the crowd was complaining, going, hey, but this one was really, really useful, blah, blah, blah. And then they put it, they made a special place for it.
Are you trying to say that there's manufactured rage in our community?
I think there's manufactured rage.
Who would do such a thing?
Absolutely.
It's insane. Yeah, so we have our portal rooms now, and nobody cares. We also had the Brawlers Guild return in March of this year, and I'm still working on it.
Me too.
It's fun. I love going down there. It's just such a neat little thing that Warcraft does. And again, it's one of the million little tucked away activities that you can do that continues to bring a little bit of life to the game that you're like, yes, every little nook and cranny, some shit's going on. In the game, in terms of the main storyline, we had a couple things that popped up. The Kultirans and Zandalari were finally made available with patch 8.1.5 hitting. And the Derek Proudmoore part of the war campaign came in. And we've now seen how that has played out to some degree with respect to him being saved and being with Jaina. And now it looks like there's something going on with him and Kalia and the Forsaken. Do you think that there is some sort of nefarious thing there, or were we just trying to dig too hard? Is it what we think it is? Is it what it looks like with Derek?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think it is what we see. I think the two of them are gonna fall in love, as much love as they can, with their undead hearts. So I think that's pretty much that storyline. It's funny because I was working on my Horde tune and I had to go through the war campaign, and I finally, not just 2 nights ago, I made it to the point where Bane admits that it was him that took Derek Proudmoore back to Jaina, and it was him that was the traitor, and all that kind of stuff. So I got to see it from the Horde storyline, and but I think that's it. I think that's the end of their story. Plus, they're gonna those two will probably make they'll probably have some sort of special role in Shadowlands too, now that they are half dead. So I don't know, we'll see.
Could be a very interesting juxtaposition for them.
Yeah.
Is it something that they want to continue on in this existence, or possibly move on to the next? Now that we have confirmation of that. Granted, right now, if you die, you go into the maw, and that sounds pretty shitty.
Yeah. So yeah.
They're gonna keep duct taping limbs back together as long as they can.
Right.
But yeah, it was hard to tell with Derek whether this was a red herring situation where, like, oh shit, this is like the bomb that's inside the building now.
Yeah.
They hit it, but it does seem like, yep, they saved him, sent him over to the Alliance. He's now going to go back with Kalia, maybe be some kind of faction-ish leader, something.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Let's do it. Bring it. So moving into April, we had possibly our best episode ever. Our April Fool's episode.
That was honestly, the amount of work that you put into that episode was amazing. And all of the, honest to God, if you haven't listened to it, go back and give that one a listen. It was definitely one of the better produced episodes.
Episode 50.
Yeah.
The first episode 50.
I don't want to ruin it because it was. Yeah. I still go back and listen to it and I crack up. And it was that good.
Yeah, I remember listening to it with my son and he was dying. So we'll just say that about that. But one of the other things that we had going on that month, coming out of the Battle of Dazar'alor, which we agree was a good raid, going into Crucible of Storms, which I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was a 2-boss fight, and that was it. Yeah.
I don't know that I actually finished it.
What? Yeah, I think you probably did, and then your raid team probably said, why are we doing this? Like, why are we doing this over and over and over again? There's better gear from doing 10-mans. So.
I may have missed the night when they finished it, and we just never went back. Like, I don't remember. I haven't even looked.
We did it a handful of times, because it happened so quick where that got rolled out, and then we got hit with all the new content after the fact. So yeah. It's
funny because Crucible of Storms ended up being less about the raid and more about being the point at which all the N'Zoth shit started jumping off. So you had your Gift of N'Zoth, you had the Black Blade of the Empire storyline, you had like all this other stuff that was feeding into it, but it really wasn't about the raid. It was about all of the other stuff going on that just needed the raid place as a staging point.
This was such a confusing expansion. Like, if you think back on, this was such a confusing expansion.
The not old god expansion.
The not old god expansion. Yeah.
Yeah, I give them credit. They tried to hold on to that line as long as they could, but listen, at some point you got to let go. Did you keep your Gift of N'Zoth?
No. The minute I could get rid of it, I got rid of it because I don't like it. I don't like anything that has to do old god stuff on my head. It's kind of creepy. So it's like a face hugger. I didn't want, it's like you don't want that thing. You don't want that thing there too long. So
I don't like anybody infringing on my transmog. So
exactly. Yeah.
Like, get out of here, eyeball.
Yeah.
Get bent. Having none of it. So the other kind of big thing that was announced in April was the creation of essences, which is now part of our Heart of Azeroth system.
That was fun.
And yeah, this I think was their, the first announcement to say, hey, we've got this new thing we're going to try, because at that time, Azerite gear, the Heart of Azeroth, like the whole new system that they had put in place, or series of systems that they'd put in place, just was not landing with the player base. Like, I have never had that big a problem with it, but a lot of other people clearly did.
Yeah.
So they told us at the time, hey, we're going to do these things. They're essences. You'll be able to upgrade them, and they'll be like this kind of chart-looking thing. You'll fill them out, and yada, yada, yada. Now that we've had some time to implement them, to have them, for me, I think it's great. We got another boost. Hoo-yah! That's awesome. But for you, Nav, I know you're a little bit more into these kinds of nuanced pieces of our gear. What do you think of the essences now that we've had them for a while?
I think they work out really well. I didn't particularly like the grind on some of them, but I like the fact that you only, if you wanted to get the legendary portion of it, it offered a visual effect only, and not so it didn't make you, they didn't make you grind into infinity, which was nice, because
it's more about showing off.
It's more about showing off, right? Exactly. And some of them were great, some of them were not so great. Mainly as fun as being a tank and a Fury Warrior, I basically a lot of the fights I got to keep my DPS essences on, just for the output and the damage and things like that. And I remember the best tanking one I had to get was, we had to go do the Mechagon dungeon a couple times, kill King Mechagon a couple of times. So I did end up getting the third level on that one, and I believe they're even in the next, and 8.3, I believe the cost of the essences is even going to be less. So yeah, so if you go out and look at Wowhead, they've got something out there on the cost of the essences that you're going to need, because there's, in the next raid, there is an essence that comes out of Mechagon that you that I forget what it's like, some aura or something that you get. I know as a Fury Warrior, it's something you want to get that has to do with the void, or it disperses something against shadow damage, or I don't know what it is. It has to do with maybe it has to do with ads too. So I'm talking like, I know that it was. We discussed it in our Discord. Our raid leaders like, hey, look, make sure you get essence level 3 on this, and going into the raid. But I don't know. I didn't mind.
There's a little meat left on the bone on that one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know that I'm necessarily as invested into all of this stuff, just because I know it's only for the lifetime of that expansion, and then we'll go on and we'll do something different. And this is the flavor of this expansion. This is how it goes. So hey. It's fine. So moving on, May this year, May of 19, was kind of the month of Metzen.
Yes.
We had both the Safe Haven cinematic in Warcraft, which brought together Saurfang and Metzen out there in a grand, and it was amazing. And we also had the instance interview.
That's right.
That Scott Johnson did with Chris. That it was a multi-part series that he did, and I still think about those interviews to this day, and how great it was to listen to Chris talk about sort of his own personal history, the history of the game, the history of the company, all of these things. It was such great insight, and if you've never taken the opportunity to listen to those interviews, I cannot stress enough how valuable a listen those are.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I know at least for one of them, it's kind of like talking about, being in a raid or certain things that call back places and times. I sat and listened to half of that interview in a Target parking lot that I happened to have some time to kill, and I was there shopping and I had nowhere else to be for a while, and I just sat in this one spot and listened to it for I don't know how long, hour plus that it was. And every time I go to that same Target, I pass by that parking spot and I go, that's where I listened to that interview. And I think about all the things that he shared about, his life and how much Warcraft and the story of Warcraft mirrored what he was experiencing in his real life.
Yeah.
And it was a really amazing listen. And I really encourage all of you that haven't to listen to it. And if you have, I'm sure there's always more nuggets in there to pull out if you listen to it again. Safe Haven, though, man, these cinematics really just kept killing it, this expansion. And it surprised all of us, I think, when we started seeing these, because we never got them outside of the intro times.
Yeah.
So we had Safe Haven, we had other ones as well, Lost Honor, all that stuff. Do you think that this is just a one-off for this expansion? Like, this was the way for them to tell this story? Or do you think that we should expect this from now on?
I think it's just going to be given to us from now on. I think that's it's not that we should expect it or not expect it. I think this is what they're doing. And their cinematic department just keeps getting more and more advanced with things. And it'll, eventually we're going to get better and better cinematics. But no, I'm sure they'll continue to tell the story this way between the machinima type in-game character things and then the cinematic version. Because there's a lot. I really love the cinematic. Like I've gone back and watched the full cut of all of the cinematics.
Oh yeah,
quite a few times, and it's just I'll be sitting at work and I'm like, you know what? I want to watch, The Old Soldier. I want to watch, I want to watch Thrall and He on the Farm. And then there's sometimes I'll want to watch the whole thing. They're just so good. And I will say that the cinematic team, again, thank you for that. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
I'm just looking forward to it, and I'm not expecting it. It's just I'm happy when I don't want to expect it. I want to be surprised. I'm surprised when they come out because they're not data mined. They're just WoW puts them out there, and that's it. Everybody gets to see it at the same time, and I get surprised and I get excited. So, yeah, I'm not putting pressure on them. You guys must do this, or I'm going to go out on Twitter and complain about it. It's I think each one is a gift for us, and I appreciate it and I love it. So,
and what's great about Safe Haven in particular is because of the panel that happened at BlizzCon, we have a lot more insight into how that was made and how Chris. And again, I forgive me because I can't remember his name, the voice actor who did Sarfang, all of the work that they had to do to get themselves to the place where they were recording those lines and they're, going ape shit on each other. And it's just, to have that context makes that specific cinematic, to me, even more special.
Yeah.
And I can't speak, obviously, for Chris Metzinoli. He can speak for himself. But it's easy to see there's the possibility of a parallel between the things that they were saying and Chris's time at Blizzard. Particularly when they were going through the video they showed at BlizzCon of him talking about how he had given everything, how he was now about his family, that how dare you ask me for anything more. Like, maybe I'm just imagining it all, but it seemed like they're real. I mean, there's a very thin line between the things that he was saying about Thrall and the things that may have existed for Chris the Man.
Yeah.
And seeing all that, I mean, it was awesome. And Andrea Troyes, God bless you. Thank you for bringing that to us. So the last thing in May that I wanted to touch on was that we had the 15th anniversary edition announced, and we went through all the back and forth on that. Now that we have experienced the 15th anniversary, and all of this stuff is out, how do you feel? Do you feel you got gypped out of that, or you
absolutely.
You feel?
Thanks, GameStop. We talked about that. No, it's you know what, it's quite all right, but I'm enjoying actually quite honestly the most I'm enjoying out of that anniversary event right now is the rep bonus and XP bonus. That it's a nice little catch up mechanic. So if they do this every year, it'd be amazing. So that'd be something.
So going into June, kicking into the summertime, we had a couple of things going on. The classic beta was rolling hard in anticipation of their August release date. We had an interview with Ian in Forbes where he was talking about how Rise of Azshara would essentially be the patch that's going to bring the game back around. Looking back on it now that we've had some time with it, do you get the sense that Rise of Azshara started to bring players into a happier place with the game? Because I don't notice as much hostility following it as I did before it.
No. I honestly feel like that raid was welcomed, and I think it did bring a lot of people back to the game. And it didn't. I mean, I thought that was I thought that one was done. I thought that raid was done very well as well. So the highlight was, for our raid team that was the farthest we've ever gotten as a mythic raid team. We downed mythic Ashvane, and that was pretty much, our goal. Our goal was mythic Ashvane. So we downed her, and we were working on Orgazora, and it was just eventually it started to trickle off where people were just losing interest of logging in and things like that. But we had met our goal, so it was the first time ever that we did that as a semi mythic raid team. We always go through as ahead of the curve, and then and then we go in on mythic, and this is the first time we actually made very, very far progress on it. So we made really good progress on it. So I liked it. I like that raid a lot, and I do think I think the community liked that raid also, especially after the cheese strat for Lady or for Mythic Azshara or for Heroic Azshara.
Yeah,
or Azshara in general. Maybe not Mythic mode, but
yeah. If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. In Ian, we trust.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I do feel, and July was when Rise of Azshara went live, and we got to see all of this come to fruition. But yeah, I think that he has a good beat on the player base. Now, there are always the vocal minority folks, and I do believe that they are the vocal minority that scream about how things are too casual, or they're getting screwed out of this or that or the other thing, and they're not always wrong. I'll say that too. But they're not the majority of the player base. And I think that Ian really does have a good pulse on the average Warcraft player, who I think, honestly, is me. And I'm still happy.
Exactly.
So that's how that goes. The kind of other interesting news that started to trickle out about the same time was that we were going to be getting a level squish with the next expansion.
Yes.
Not necessarily a stat squish, but a level squish.
Yep.
Which we hadn't seen before. And of course we know that at BlizzCon that came true, that they talked about how the entire leveling experience is going to change radically, that you'll be picking an expansion, leveling through that entirely, with a little stop before at this new sort of 1 through 10 experience that they're going to dream up. And all of that has changed, or will be changing, I should say. And one of the things that they talked about at the time, when we finally had an opportunity to hear from them about this, was that they wanted to try to make each level more rewarding. We've heard this a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's like, as you level, it's like, oh, yeah, whoop-de-doo, you go from this level to this level, nothing happens. Pfft, gives a shit. So I, every once in a while, get a wild wild hair up my nose about Diablo during these seasonal events. And I decided to make a seasonal Diablo character that's currently ongoing. And so I made a Crusader because I like their kit. And I've been going through it and just smashing on stuff and having a great time. There's exploding chickens. And I mean, it's they really have some good seasonal buffs this year. I really like it. But the main thing that I've been picking up on, and as it relates to this topic, is as you level in Diablo, it does seem like nearly every level you're getting a whole bunch of new stuff. You're getting, new abilities, you're getting new effects for those abilities, you're getting these new passive abilities. It's all kinds of stuff is going on.
Yeah.
And it does feel rewarding. I'm like, ooh, level 37. I didn't think I'd give a shit about that level before, but now I got this thing and that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
And I do think that Warcraft could benefit from that kind of incentive. That as you get to a new level, you're like, oh, that's really cool. Now I can do this. Or now I've got that. Right. And then what does that do? That kind of starts to tether you and pull you to the next level. You're like, oh, at the next level, I'm going to get this. And then you get that thing and you're like, oh, what am I getting at the next level? Oh, at the next level, I get this. And that's the kind of chain that I think they're trying to build on this. And if they link it that way, again, I am really excited about the leveling changes.
I am too.
And that just screams success to me.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. Absolutely. And it also helps with, when you do get your friends to play the game with you, that, they're not logging in and then going, oh, crap, I got to level 120 levels just to play with you? That sucks, Yeah. So
it's going to be huge.
Yep.
On the sort of downside of things, we had leaked out that a StarCraft first-person shooter game had been canceled.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on with StarCraft. And
I don't think anybody does.
Nobody seems to know at this point. And so I would dare say that is one of my biggest disappointments of 2019 in terms of gaming, is that I am dying for some real legitimate new StarCraft stuff. Not another co-op commander. God bless them. They're great. But I want to see another game. I want to see another story. Yeah. I want to see something going on. And right now, it is dying on the vine.
Yeah, pretty much.
But again, if they canceled it, I'm going to believe that they had a good reason to do it, because a StarCraft FPS sounds fucking rad as hell. I would love to be a Space Marine going down and gunning these Zerg up. Like,
honest to God, and especially, Activision is known for that type of game style with Call of Duty. Just talk to those people. Activision, Blizzard, just work with the Call of Duty team. Infinity Ward.
Yeah, anything, something.
Anything, yeah.
Golly. Well, nonetheless, hopefully they're hard at work in the lab on something StarCraft related, and we have something on the horizon. But it does seem like, correct me if I'm wrong, but some aspect of that may have been put into Overwatch 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Becoming Overwatch 2. Hopefully nothing's going to waste there. But yeah, StarCraft continues to wait for its next great successor. So as we mentioned, Rise of Azara came live in July. We had Azara's Palace open. We talked about that raid a bit. I think it was a decent raid. It was interesting. I think some of the fights were not as fun as some of the others in the past. I don't know that I will be going back to experience that raid a whole lot. But coming out of the raid, we had a lot of questions about what comes next.
Mm-hmm.
We had this cinematic. It seemed like N'Zoth was free. Azara could have been dead or alive at that point. We weren't really sure. And Horde and Alliance kind of were working together. Is there a possible third faction setup happening? No, because it's World of Warcraft, goddammit, and we don't do that. There's no Switzerland here.
Yeah,
we don't do that business. But I know you have been pushing or hoping or thinking that there would be some kind of switch for a faction or a third party or a neutral faction or something. Now that we know, at least in Ian's tenure, that will not be happening, are you disappointed that these faction lines will continue? or are you, as I am, embracing faction differences?
Well, that's the thing. I think I've just reached a level of acceptance that this is the way Warcraft is. You've got red versus blue, and that is the heart of the game. It's the Horde versus Alliance, orcs versus humans. It goes back further than World of Warcraft.
It's true. It is part of the DNA
of
the game.
Yeah.
So we did have that come out in July, as we've talked about. I don't know that the Ajara fight is going to go down in the pantheon, no pun intended, of best end of raid fights. I know the Mythic folks were just beside themselves, saying how difficult it was or how much they didn't like it, and I think a lot of other people felt the same way.
Yeah.
It's trying to strike that balance right between what is challenging and what is just too damn hard.
Yeah.
And I think they might have gone too far.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we had that in July, and then come August, Classic World of Warcraft Classic finally came out. Huge rush, immensely popular, #1 game on Twitch, jacked up all the subscription numbers. I mean, it was. I think Classic has to be the biggest win of the year.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure the numbers back that up.
And all my friends that used to play World of Warcraft with me have started playing World of Warcraft Classic. And they're all like, oh, this is so good. You should come play. And I'm like, no, it's okay. We did that. Remember we played that game a while ago? Remember when we did that? We did that back in 2007, 2008 there? No.
It's back when you had hair.
That's right. A little bit. Not a lot.
A little bit. So we had Classic come out, and I still have not played it very much just because we've been so busy with other things. And it was very popular. As that was going on, there were competing World First streams going on for Ajara and some other things. I think I'm at the point now where I was pretty excited about seeing all the live streaming of the Mythic rating and all the other rating that was going on, but I need there to be some actual competition.
Yeah, I know.
And I know I've said this before, but this is the same complaint that people have about every super team, is that at some point
they're the Pats. Yeah.
It's boring to watch the same team win all the time.
Yep.
And we were joking about this during BlizzCon when, they have all of these PvP tournaments and which method team is going to win, because they have more than one.
Right.
It's credit to them. They have locked in what is probably the top, certainly one of the top esports teams. It's definitely the top esport team for World of Warcraft, but it's getting boring, man. Like I gotta say, I need some renegade team from, I don't know, Bolivia to show up and just start smoking fools on these tournaments or something, because it's just.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stop watching. I mean, I say that, but I'm gonna keep watching. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
I know.
I get it, and credit to their talent. But man, I'm putting out this call and this plea to any other team that is out there: get your shit together, get Blood Legion back. Somebody, anybody. Neverwinter, I don't know, someone. Make it. Paragon, funny. Where are you? Come back, save us. So that was August. Classic was huge. September came along, 8.2.5 releases. We get the end of the war campaign that we've been playing through in this expansion. We don't have to do much to get to the end. We see the final cinematic. Mat-Gara goes down. Sylvanas blows away Saurfang. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole to-do. I think we're not that surprised by the,
No, the storytelling. No, yeah,
but it was still pretty cool to see.
Yes,
I think that for myself, I was fairly satisfied with where it came down. Now that I've had some time to sit with it, it's like, okay, it makes sense to me based on what we've seen and have seen since. It could have been, a few things could have been done a little bit differently, but overall, I'm fine with how it ended.
I am absolutely fine with how it ended.
Yeah. We got our B mount.
Yes.
I did finally get my B mount.
Awesome.
Very excited. Do you have your B mount?
I do have my B mount. I just got it. Yes. I was logging in and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run around and get all this stuff, and then I ended up going, okay, I'm going to the auction house and buying enough resin to get the honey to get the goggles, and then when I got the goggles, it made things so much easier. So
God bless the auction house.
Finally got the B mount. So yeah.
And we also were told that Goblin and Worgen updates were in. However, the Heritage armor is TBD.
I don't like the way they look. I don't like the way they look. The Heritage armor just, I'm not. Yeah.
Well, I'm still waiting for my human one, so that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah.
Where is my fancy pants Stormwind armor?
Yeah.
I've got 2 versions of it already, and I need a third. You have to have a day outfit and an evening outfit and a pajama outfit. So
that's right. Evening tuxedo.
It's one thing that watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel has really reinforced is that I need multiple outfits per day. So I just put that out there. But really, September into October into November, it seemed like all we talked about was Sylvanas.
My God. Yeah.
And what happened? Did the story make sense? You had the fanboys coming out saying this is not who Sylvanas is, and you guys are just dropping the ball, or you're making things up, or blah blah blah. And
I have unblocked. I have blocked and muted more accounts since then. I had to, because I couldn't stand listening to the crying anymore about Sylvanas. Like, seriously.
I know that you and I offline had several conversations focused on.
Some of those people need help, like big time. I'm sorry. I mean, for real.
Yeah. There's a line between fandom where it's like you're invested in the success or failure of a character, and then there's when like you think that this person, or you act like they're a member of your family.
Right. Yeah. And
legit. Like it is a little worrisome.
Yes.
Like I talk about all the time on here how much I love Vary and Rin.
Right.
I was very upset when they killed him off.
Right.
But I've mostly moved on. I mean, you'll hear me say it from time to time, like, bring him back, but I'm not arguing with people on Twitter.
Right.
that they shouldn't have killed him and he was misunderstood. It just gotta draw the line.
I know.
Here somewhere. But October was a pretty good month for us because we had both Frasley from Frazzlecast and Jin from Morally Grey Podcast stop by. And we had some good conversations with them. And at the same time, we had 8.3 getting announced, which we still have yet to step into. But October, I think, for us was a pretty good month. And it was great to have them on. Talking to Frasley. Frasley's
ball of energy.
Shot out of it's funny because you got Frasley who's shot out of a cannon and whose energy is nigh containable. And then you have Jin, who I'm pretty sure should be on NPR.
Yeah.
Has just the and having met the guy in person at the Amon Amarth show is just like the most relaxed dude I've ever met.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that about him, because I think sometimes my just sort of anxious brain just flips on and I'm just all weird high energy.
Yeah.
So I appreciate when somebody else comes in and is like, whoa, let's bring it down. So when we had the 8.3 announcement in October, what were the things that jumped out to you the most in terms of what was announced then, and kind of now that we've had some time to see what it looks like coming up, where we're actually going to jump into it here in the next month? What's got you jacked?
The legendary cloak, with the option to get the legendary cloak made like a backpack, because backpacks are a thing now.
Oh.
So you can get the legendary cloak, and then when you work on it, I believe there's an option that you can go back and purchase a backpack appearance for your legendary cloak. So it'll look kind of neat.
So we can get backpacks.
So we can get backpacks without having to do the hard way of doing the 12 different accounts, paying for them all at the same time, and Which is a write-up on Wowhead on how to do that too. So
yeah, I did see that there was a guide on how to buy like 14 different accounts and save yourself money to get the recruiter friend stuff. Yeah. I don't recommend that, but
no, not at all.
God bless you if you make it. But really, October is all about BlizzCon hype, and then we get into November.
Yep.
And we're rolling high on the 8.3 announcement. We're like, yes, solo content is coming. That looks rad. Legendary cloaks, Nyalotha, woo! And then Shadowlands just blows us away.
Yeah, pretty much.
That cinematic, I probably watched it 40 times.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of it. Even if there's a point at which I'm disappointed because I really wanted Bolvar to smash him. Or just like,
I know. Just put up a little bit more of a fight. Yeah, I know. Again, more Sylvanas fatigue.
More Sylvanas fatigue. But yes, November, obviously last month was huge with it kicking off right away. BlizzCon coming at us. Shadowlands. We've got, new zones coming. We've got these covenants for each new zone, giving us some idea of what transmog and activities we'll be doing. We learned about the afterlife. Starting to learn about the afterlife of Warcraft, which is not something that they've explored quite as in-depth as what it looks like we're going to do. So coming out of all of the announcements that we had, and you and I, of course, did our first live show on Twitch.
That's right, yeah.
Immediately following that. And we had an appearance on Rolling Restart, second one after that. What is your hype level right now? Granted, we're still like 10 months away from seeing Shadowlands, but what is your hype level right now? How are you feeling about the expansion, and what's the thing that you're looking forward to hearing about most as we head into next year regarding Shadowlands?
Yeah, so I guess I'm more excited to hear about what kind of characters we're going to be coming across, so the story. But again, I don't want to ruin it for myself. Also, I kind of want to keep a little bit of that to be a surprise. I am so excited about the level squish. I know that we're going to get that prior to the expansion. That'll be in the next patch. I'm sure we'll get the next levels. We'll get the level squish there, so we can get a feel of how it, everything feels before we go into Shadowlands. And with every new expansion, it's always cool, but we're gonna get the level from 50 to 60, so it'll be nice. So
yeah. I know for myself, being told and knowing that we're going to learn more about the lore of the creation of Frostmourne and the Helm of Domination, being the Lich King mark that I am.
Yeah,
I'm all ears. And I'm super excited about that. But yes, I think our collective hype level remains pretty strong for Shadowlands.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as 8.3 comes and goes, and we move forward into the new year later on and find out more, I'm pumped. And I'm holding out hope for another secret cinematic. You never know.
We're gonna get one. So,
but November really was great, not just because of BlizzCon, but we also had the one and only Copper Bolt.
That's right.
On our show, who helped us and created for us our art.
Yes.
For our
did a
show.
Great job on that. Yep.
Did an amazing job. It was such a pleasure to talk to her on the show. Granted, I lucky enough to talk to her all the time because she's on my raid team. But to pick her brain and to talk about, her time and her experience in Warcraft, and how valuable her experiences can be for us and for other folks to hear about. And Copper, really appreciate you coming on, as well as Fraz and Jen. Thank you all for being part of the show this year. Really appreciate you guys making time for us, and it was great to talk to you all. And now here we are. It's December of 2019. We've got a 15th anniversary currently ongoing. As you've mentioned a couple times, with AV, old school AV is in full effect. Now, you've talked about leveling a bunch of stuff through AV, but have you got your mount?
Yes,
okay.
I managed to get the mount. Yes,
managed to get your mount. I have not done that yet. I don't know that I will, as I don't know how often I'm going to head back in there. But 15th anniversary items are currently up for grabs. We've got that sort of patched together raid that's going on where you can go and see some of the old fights and get yourself a Deathwing mount, which is pretty rad. But here we are, midway through December. This will be our last show of this year. So thinking back now on all the things that we've talked about, all the things that have happened this year, what was your personal highlight of 2019?
For the show.
For the show or for Warcraft?
For Warcraft, I would say, for Warcraft, the highlight was finally getting the whole wrap up of the cinematic, because we got hit with that one cinematic at last year's. At BlizzCon, when you see the war and then you get Lordaeron and they're fighting, and then to see it come to fruition where we see the start of it to the end of it, I really, really enjoyed the whole cinematic thing there. I think for Warcraft that was a big highlight for me, and getting to do the in game with my raid team. I think the whole highlight thing was getting to down Mythic Ashvane in the raid. I've come to expect that there's always going to be expansions for World of Warcraft. So, I mean, having Shadowlands wasn't a big, it's not like a big highlight for me. Because the announcement, because that always happens. For the show, it was, I always have fun, personal, when we have the guests on. So having Copper on and having, like you said, Fraz, Jin, and then Kane and things like that. And you put together the new music, which is awesome. That was big. And then the new artwork, which is awesome. And that was also big. That was, I honestly, I can't believe it was a whole, just year, done. It's, yeah.
Time flies, man.
Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun, I think they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, for myself, the biggest highlight, because technically I think we got our music at the end of last year.
Yo, okay, yeah.
So I would say that for the show, I think my highlight was getting our art from Copper.
Yeah.
Because as I sit here in my Unshackled Fury t-shirt that I have made up, using those art assets, it's such a huge thing for me, because I think it's part of our further cementing of our identity of the show and kind of the vibe for who we are and what we do and getting the word out. So I think for the show, that was it. For Warcraft, as I've gotten a little bit older, I've come to appreciate the existence of things that I enjoy and have tried less to complain when I don't get more of them. And I think that's something that our fandom is terrible about, is about not just enjoying the thing that we got, but wanting more of the thing that we got.
Right.
And complaining that we don't get it. So I will just say this. I think my personal highlight for Warcraft is the fact that I have seen and briefly bore witness to the Lich King Bolvar before that helm got ripped.
Yes.
Because just having had that and having seen that and knowing that that's a thing, I will enjoy the shit out of that for as long as I live. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it, but I hope we get at least more of that in maybe some other cinematics, or we'll see something as the game goes on. I would love that. I would enjoy that. But the fact that I at least got it for that 2 minutes or 3 minutes or however long we saw him actually doing the thing, I'm grateful for that forever. And it's one of the most badass things I've ever seen. So,
yeah.
I love it. All right. We've talked about the past, and let's talk about the future. We still have Visions of N'Zoth on the way. That patch is reportedly soon, probably sometime in January, mid-January. But we have yet to get a release date on that. We also have not gotten a release date for Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Right.
Which is supposed to be... I mean, they intended it to be out by the end of the year, but I don't know that it's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. So I guess we're going to see what the status is of that. I'm really looking forward to that. I know for myself, in 2020, I just have goals of continuing to have fun in game and bringing this content that we make out to the people to keep on doing our show and keep on finding ways to keep it fun or interesting or, engaging for folks. Coming up with ideas of things to do. I know at the beginning of this year, I talked about some bits and other things that I wanted to do, and some of them panned out and some of them didn't. But we're always working. We're always thinking. We're always trying to figure something out. And, I'll keep playing and raiding and causing trouble and doing the things we do, and we'll come back here and talk about it. And I know for you, Nav, I think you are anticipating a little bit of a different path for yourself in game coming up, aren't you?
Yeah. So starting with 8.3, I'm retiring from the whole rating element. It's
wow.
It's been a fun journey. I've enjoyed it immensely, but there's been some changes in our lives. My wife has a brand new job, and my time with her in the evenings is now more important than, I would come home.
Yeah.
I'd go to work and rush home to eat dinner so I can run up and raid and things like that. So now it's like, with both of us working and both of us, it's more important that, I want to spend time with her more in the evenings. Absolutely. And I'm also going to probably go back to school and finish out some things I need to finish out there. And but I'm still going to enjoy playing World of Warcraft. I'm still going to be doing this podcast with you. It's one of the main things I truly do enjoy doing this podcast. I truly do enjoy playing WoW. I think my raiding career in World of Warcraft has come to an end. I think, Nav's still there. He's gonna continue in Shadowlands. He's gonna continue to support the Alliance and all that good stuff. And but that's it. And I do want to say, it has been a pleasure it has always been a pleasure doing this podcast. I know we talked about it at the beginning of the show. We've been doing it now for 2 years. You're very
you
close,
and I.
Close friend of mine. You were there to support me when I had my surgery this year. I thank you very much for that. And thank you for continuing to have me on the show on this ride with you. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, buddy. Well, I always appreciate you being here, and as we've done this show now a little over 2 years, we've gotten to know each other a lot more and become friends, and I've really enjoyed that. And I appreciate you being here, man. And we're gonna continue to do what we do here. And
that's right.
Sometimes things change and perspectives change, and to some extent, you have to practice what you preach. And we talk about this is when you're feeling burnt or your priorities change, you got to do what you got to do.
Yep. Exactly.
But the beauty of this game is that there's still all kinds of stuff you can do.
I know. That's like I said, once 8.3 drops, I'm gonna be looking to do that, log in and do the legendary cloaks quest chain and things like that, and so.
Yeah, well, we certainly have a lot to look forward to. I've been banging this drum away forever. I think 2020 is going to be a big year.
Yeah.
And we continue to work on what we're working on here and do the things that we're doing. So I think 2020 is going to be a big year for Blizzard. I think it's going to be a big year for us. And I'm glad that we're here to do it together, and everybody else who's listening is coming along with us.
That's right.
With that, I think that will wrap up our 2019 year in review. Other than this fine program, where can the good people find you on the internet, Navox?
You can find me out on Twitter and Twitch. I am at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage and this show at Unshackled_Fury. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can find this show on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Google Play. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you in 2020. Farewell.